Velkommen til min kanal Sainabou. Den her dokumentarserie er et forsøg på at sætte ord på nogle af de tanker og bekymringer, jeg har, når det kommer til hele den teknologiske udvikling, og mere specifikt den måde, teknologien påvirker os alle sammen.
How many of you think life has gone like fast and crazy, especially in the past 20-30 years? Some of you are like just 20-30, but I cannot change the question for that, Yeah? See, my theory is that life has been the same. It is that one thing all of us have at home. It is creating that illusion that life is worse than what it is. It is that one thing all of us have at home. It is screaming and shouting all the time. It is making an illusion that life has gone crazy. It is driving us nuts. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? Yeah, it's the children now. Wow. Good luck. Getting married and have a lovely life, man. God bless you. Yeah. And some ladies would have been thinking mother-in-laws, or the guys would have been thinking wives. No, the television, guys. See, TV has changed so much, no? In the past 20-30 years. You imagine TV, how it was like 30 years ago. Even the shape was different, no? You have it right here. It used to look really big. It used to be fat. It used to have a huge right? And it was not colorful, right? But I'm telling you, that time it knew its limits, man. It behaved properly. Now this thing has gotten like thin, like flat, high definition, curvy and all. Maybe that's why it's behaving bitchy. I have this feeling. I'll give you an example. You get up in the morning, switch on the TV for some morning news. The channel music itself will give you hypertension. You will raise the blood pressure like crazy. Morning news, breaking news, flash news. Shit is happening all over the world. As per the latest report, shit is hitting the ceiling. It is spreading rapidly towards all of us. We'll come back with more shit on that report right after. You'll be like, what happened? What happened, pa? What happened? I don't know what happened here, but looks like we are in deep shit. That's how you're made to feel in the morning, early morning. That's how you're made to feel. But 30 years ago, that was not the case. Yeah, you get up in the morning, switch on the TV. Doordarshan was the only channel. You switch on the TV, the channel music comes on. Yeah? You remember the channel music for Doordarshan? Ta-ra-ra-ra-ra. Yes, shit is happening all over the world, but that's okay, you relax. Remember, life is a circle. What is up will be down, and what is down will be up. You relax. You do your job, be good, do good. Everything else will fall in place. Relax. That's how life should be, no? What do you think? Yeah. That's how life should be, man. Why do we need so many channels, 20, 30 channels running and screaming all the time, yeah? Running and screaming about the same thing in different ways all the time, right? They're running so crazy. Every few minutes they have to say this. Viewers, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back. You stay tuned right there. You see what these idiots are saying? They will take a break, huh? We have to stay tuned right there, are they?
De fleste af os mennesker lever egentlig ikke rigtigt vores liv, men lever som en reaktion på det liv, der er omkring os. Citat David Icke.
You are not who you think you are.
The movie The Matrix is not science fiction. It's a documentary.
It's a download of normal.
The brain is like the iPod. Consciousness is the screen where I can create. But if I don't have anything in the hard drive, I can't create.
When you look at a human life, it's basically a perceptual programming and download from cradle to grave. You come out of the womb and immediately you're influenced by your parents in terms of your perceptions. And they're not being malevolent, but they've been through the system you're about to go through, the process you're about to go through. They've bought it, accepted it as normal, accepted the crazy place to be sane, and therefore out of wanting to do right for you, they'll pass those perceptions on to you.
95% of our life is coming from the programs of life, how to live life that we get in the first 7 years of life.
You come out of the womb, and within 4 years, You've only just got here. You're sitting at a desk with an authority figure representing the state's version of everything in front of you, telling you when you have to be there, when you can leave, when you can speak, when you can go to the toilet, when you can eat, what is, what isn't, what's possible, what's not possible, and the nature of everything.
Every human, and this is a fact, every human first 7 years is download hypnosis. The brain of a child under 7 is in a lower vibrational frequency. When you put wires on a person's head, you read electroencephalograph, reading brain activity. A child below 7 has a lower vibration than consciousness. It's called theta. Theta is imagination. Oh, that's how kids play a tea party with mud pies, but to them it's a real thing. A kid rides a broom, it's a horse. That's theta, imagination. Theta is also hypnosis. And the idea is this: before you can become conscious, if you don't have any programs, what are you going to be conscious of?
It's a download of normal, one of the greatest forms of mind control, repetition, 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 all the way through your formative years.
What kind of programs are required to live on this planet? I say, how do you get them? Theta is hypnosis. You just watch. You watch your parents, you watch your siblings, and your community, because you have to learn how many 100,000 rules. Think about it. Teach an infant these rules. I say, oh, you don't have to. First 7 years, they observe it and just download it.
What I'm seeing is more and more people beginning to question what they've not questioned before, because perception is everything. Perception dictates what you believe, what you don't believe, what you'll challenge, what you won't challenge, what you'll accept, you won't accept. Once they've got your perceptions, they've got you, and they've got your life. This is why they want to control the information that people receive and to marginalize alternative ways of looking at the world. Because where do perceptions come from? They come from information received.
95% of our life, this is a fact, comes from those programs in the subconscious. Every day, only about 5% of their life are you using conscious, which is creative. 5%.
So your life is being lived, even though you think you're living your life.
Exactly, and you don't see it because it's called subconscious, below conscious. And the Jesuits, for 400 years, they were boasting. People didn't understand. They say, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. They've been saying that for 400 years because they knew 7 years was the program period. And 95% of your life after that will be whatever that program is.
Or you can expand your understanding and your perception and realize that you can be as much of this infinite awareness as you choose to expand into. And when you do that, your whole perception, the point from which you look at the world completely changes. You've gone from here, I don't understand it, it's all bewildering to me, and suddenly you don't see pixels anymore, you see pictures. You don't see strands, you see patterns, you can see how it all fits together. It's all illusion. It's all a manifestation of our perception of reality. If you buy this, born age 70, then basically the program is dictating your life. But you can break that because it's an illusion. It's just a perceptual program. And if you can override it by changing self-identity.
David Icke, journalist, forfatter, filosof, samfundskritiker, whistleblower og frihedskæmper med mere. David Icke forklarer, at den største form for ultimativ kontrol er, hvor du tror, du er fri. Alt imens du bliver dikteret. Alt imens du fundamentalt bliver manipuleret med.
Was an evil ruler, and I wanted to create mental illness. What would I do? I'd create American society with fast food restaurants everywhere, with food deserts, with this notion that alcohol is a health food, or marijuana is innocuous, or the news is in fact the news, because the news is not the news. The news is a marketing device for advertisers to make money. And they scare you, where millions of amazing things happened yesterday, but you never hear about them because they don't get eyeballs. Fear is a primitive response. The brain pays attention to fear first, and so they scare you. And in that way, they can sell you medications that have this laundry list of side effects.
En form for diktatur er, hvor du sidder i et fængsel, hvor du kan se og røre tremmerne. En anden form for diktatur er, hvor du ikke kan se tremmerne, og derfor tror du er fri.
Recognize this. If you buy a new computer and you turn it on, the built-in operating system prepares it to work. But if there are no programs in that computer, then the computer can't really do anything. Well, let's now relate this to a child. When the brain develops, it's got an operating system, but there are no programs in it. So nature created the first 7 years of our lives to download behaviors by observing our parents, our siblings, and our community. And in this way, a child can learn all the behavioral characteristics necessary to be a functional member of a family and a functional member of a community. Well, however, since we are downloading the programs by observing other people, what happens if we download programs from our parents or our family and siblings that are not very positive programs, that are actually very negative programs that have an adverse effect on our health? Well, it turns out science has revealed that during the first 7 years of our life, our brain is designed to download programs just by observing other people. It's a state of hypnosis, which is a characteristic of a brain frequency called theta, which is just below consciousness. The first 7 years of a child's life is installing the programs that when consciousness kicks in at around age 7, consciousness has use of programs to create the behavior in their relationships, in their family, community, etc. We now know about 70% of those programs that we download from others are negative and disempowering and even self-sabotaging. And as we go through our life, you'd say, well, where are these programs? I say, well, they're in the subconscious mind. And then you say, but what's the other mind? I say, the conscious mind, that's the one that kicks in at age 7. That mind is connected to your personal identity, your spirituality. And the difference between the two is profound. The conscious mind is a creative mind. The subconscious mind is a programmed mind, a habit mind. So I say, why is it relevant? I say, well, if you're running from the conscious mind, then you're creating your life from wishes and desires and aspirations. However, if your life is under the control of the subconscious mind, it's just going to play back the programs that you downloaded from other people. Well, since other people didn't plan your wishes and your desires, the download you get may not even allow you to get into the life that you really wish for. So here comes the important issue. Are we running our lives with a conscious mind, or are we running our lives with the subconscious programs? Well, it turns out science has revealed that only 5% of the day are we operating our nervous system using the conscious mind's creative wishes and desires. 95% of the day, our life is coming straight out of the programs in our subconscious. The reason why this is happening is that when conscious mind is controlling our biology, it's sort of like a driver holding the wheel, taking us into the direction we want to go, our wishes and desires. However, when we are thinking, conscious mind has to let go of the wheel and go inside the brain. Why? Thought is an inside job. It's not outside. So what happens when consciousness is thinking? It's not driving the vehicle. I said, well, then what happens to the vehicle, our body, when consciousness is thinking? I go, subconscious is autopilot. So the moment we start thinking, biology is taken over by the programs that we acquired in the subconscious. Now here comes the problem. 95% of the day we're operating from these programs, and the vast majority of them are disempowering and self-sabotaging downloads. So we're not leading a life that takes us towards wishes and desires. We're leading a life that manifests the issues that we downloaded from other people. mostly negative. And therefore, we struggle through life. And I say, well, why is there a struggle? I said, because you're not operating from wishes and desires any longer. You're operating from the habits you got from other people.
Vi lever i en verden styret og domineret af teknokrater. Teknokratiet er ankommet. En samfundsorden styret af teknokrater. Teknisk indsigtsfulde personer. Hvor beslutningsmagten ikke længere ligger hos politikerne eller hos folket, men hos medlemmerne af en ekstrem manipulerende og alt dominerende teknokratisk elite.
The control grid's an interesting thing. A lot of people don't realise what they're involved in. Just the simple fact of using credit cards, using smartphones and all of this automated system is the problem. People don't realise what it is. This system we're being led into is the New World Order in itself. The 5G smart grid is the New World Order, the Internet of Things. It's the New World Order. People don't really understand how that works, but what it's about is monitoring every single aspect of your life. The smart grid is being presented to people as this thing that's going to be highly beneficial to us. You know, you'll only be using the electricity that you use, you'll only be paying for that, all this sort of stuff. So it's been presented as a really positive thing. But what it will do, it will put a dollar value on absolutely every aspect of your life. So that every time you turn on a tap, the credit goes. Every time you turn on a light, every time you watch your TV, every time you boil your jug, every time you do anything, there's a dollar value attached to it. There's an interesting TV show that came out a couple of years ago called Black Mirror, and they had one episode of that where everybody, the only job they had was running on a treadmill or spinning a bike and just to accumulate credits, and they had to pay for every single action that they performed. And that's what the smart grid is. That's what we're being led into. And it's all about digital currency and control of everything. And if you're someone who lives a slightly alternate lifestyle, say you grow a few vegetables and you give some to your neighbours, or you do a little bit of massage for someone, or you do a bit of tarot reading or something like this, the only way you're going to be able to get paid for that once the smart grid comes online is through the transfer of digital credits, which means the government will get a tax. You'll have to put it on your income tax, or everything will be monitored. That's what it's about, complete blanket surveillance of every single action people are doing. That's what the smart grid is. And it's being rolled out underneath everything else while we're arguing about all of these issues and being given all of these global conflicts and all of this theatre of politics to fight and squabble about. Underneath all of that is this smart grid. And it's rolling out very, very quickly. And the smart grid, the 5G grid, underlying that is the fact that the 5G system that they're using to run the smart grid, the Internet of Things, has also been used by the military. It's a military-grade technology. It's basically an active denial system. So the 5G grid not only will track everything you do, it can be used as a weapon. It can be used as a microwave cannon. It can be used to disable people, to track people. It can see through walls. It can see what you're carrying, whether you're carrying money, whether you're carrying a weapon, all this sort of stuff. So it's very, very evasive. Plus it does all sorts of damage to us biologically. You know, it damages our cell structure, damages the cell structure of all food, changes the cell structure of everything that it comes into contact with. And the 5G system will be a blanket system, blanket wave of communication. You know, we've got situations now where you lose signal on your mobile phone if you move too far away from a tower. That won't happen with the 5G. It will be everywhere, right across the country, in rural areas, everywhere you'll be able to get perfect signal. So everyone's going to kind of welcome this, but they don't realise what it is. It's about everything talking to everything else and everything tracking everything else. And also with the smart grid, it turns virtually every smart appliance into a surveillance system. There's been a new law passed in Australia where police have just been given the permission to tune into smart devices and listen to what's going on in people's homes. They can tune into your refrigerator. A lot of people don't realise your smart fridge has a microphone. They can tune in and listen to the conversations you're having in your kitchen. So anybody who's targeted for any reason at all, if they've got suspicions about anybody, they can just tune in, listen to their devices, their mobile phones, their refrigerators, their televisions, turn their cameras on, watch them through the television, all the stuff that they're doing. This is what the smart grid is. And this is being rolled out underneath everything. And we've got so many people distracted on so many issues trying to address the government corruption and all of this stuff. They're not realising that this is all rolling out. And in another 3 or 4 to 5 years, they're just going to wake up and go, what happened? How did I suddenly find myself in this digital prison? Because that's what it is. That's virtually what it is. It's a digital prison, a digital control grid. And if you want to participate in this society, you're going to have to participate in the smart grid. So We need to look at what it is and what it's going to be used for, and realise that the technology that we've got, we could use for our benefit. You know, all of this stuff could be used in completely different ways, in completely different directions. A smart grid could be used to the great benefit of mankind, and it's being presented in that way. But when you look at the people who are running it, the people who are running the world, well, the world's run by criminals, and they're not going to use this in the right way. They have no intention of it. And if you look at some of the white papers they've put out themselves, papers that have been put out by the Pentagon recently, that talk about a federal vision for future computing and the nanotechnology grand challenge, and they talk about this 15-year plan they've got to roll all this out and eventually hand it all over to AI to control. And when we get to that point, then we've got the entire human experience being controlled by a machine, which will dictate everything according to an economic value and dictate everybody's value according to their economic worth. So this is a very, very bad situation for mankind to be led into under the guise of convenience and making our lives easier. It's really not going to do that at all.
Den her teknokratiske elite har altså en meget stærk implementerende indflydelse og effekt på hele den måde, vi alle sammen observerer, analyserer og fortolker verden.
Well, they're doing it through the Internet of Things is how it's all being rolled out. You know? And basically, what is essential for the whole thing to happen is digital currency. They've got to digitize currency, remove all cash from the system. And you're getting that here in Denmark. We were discussing with people today, you can only ride the trains, you've got to pay for it with your mobile phone. What if you don't have a mobile phone? And if you don't log on, you've got to log on to the train, and then if you don't log off when you get off the train, it keeps taking your money, and suddenly your account is been depleted because you forgot to log off when you get off the train. Now, they could make all these sorts of things convenient. Now, you could pay for that, and it could just gauge your trip. You didn't have to log off. But they do that so that it depletes your account so that people want the smart grid. They make all these inconveniences. They put all these systems in place and make it inconvenient for you. You could forget to log off. You could forget to swipe your card when you leave the train, so suddenly all your money's gone. So they put these situations in place to make people want this grid to come online. Recently, when I came to check into the United States, I got to the passport counter. 16 counters there, 2 of them were open. 4 aeroplanes arrived, 1,200 people waiting to get through. 2 passport counters. Took us 2.5 hours to get our passports stamped. Because that way you want the retinal scanners. You want the smart grid. It's much more convenient. So they make it inconvenient for you all across the world. And people don't notice it. They just think it's hard to do things, and they want it. They welcome it. And meanwhile, they're focused on all these battles and all these theatres of politics and all this stuff that they think is the problem. They think they can address it. They think we can vote people in, vote people out, whatever, put a new figurehead up there that will do the right thing for us. But underneath it all is this grid. And that's how they're going to do it. They just make it very, very inconvenient for you not to participate in the smart system, and so much easier when you do. And so people welcome it. You know, and that's the way it's going. You know, a lot of people are going to welcome this smart system. A lot of people are going to welcome instant communication. They're going to see it as a way to free the world. And like I said, it could be used to free the world, but it's not. It's going to be used to lock down the world, because underneath it is the surveillance system that is the smart grid, and underneath that is the weapons system that it can be turned into if you don't comply with the smart grid. And it gets to the point where if you do decide not to comply, you become a dissident, they can simply switch you off. Switch your chip off. And once it's all digital and you need that chip to get into your car, to get into your house, to access your bank account, to buy things, it's all automatic, suddenly you're locked out of the system. So there's no hope of dissent. There's no hope of free thought. There's no hope of questioning any of this. You just have to simply go with the flow. Because in the smart grid, there will only be 2 types of human beings that they're really concerned with. The smart grid will only, because it's going to be run by AI, it'll only look at 2 types of human beings, those that are desirable and those that are undesirable. And that's it. That'll be the 2 classes that you're in.
Vi kan få alt i hele verden. Men spørgsmålet er, hvad er prisen? Og det er en pris, du er villig til at betale. Vi må huske på, at hverken vores tid eller vores helbred kan købes for penge.
And here's the craziest thing about life. This is the thing that nobody really considers. You know as much about what life is all about as anybody who's ever lived ever. That's the craziest fucking thing about us. We're all just kind of wandering through this going, do you know what you're doing? Yes. Oh, I do too. I know what I'm doing. Okay, good then. But really, no one has a fucking clue. But we never bring it up. You remember when you were a kid and you thought they were real grown-ups? You remember that shit? You remember? You know what I'm talking about, motherfucker. Older people love to pretend they know what the fuck is going on. We're all full of shit. When I was a kid, I thought they were grown-ups. Didn't you? Like, you were crying, you got sent to your room, like, you know what? One day I'm gonna be a grown-up and everything's gonna make sense. Then one day you're like 25 at the supermarket and the bag boys calls you sir and you're like, what the fuck? How'd that happen? Shit! You mean I'm a grown-up? Oh my God, are we fucked? You mean nobody knows? We're all just zombies walking through this life? Shit! The real problem is, most of us are idiots. We just like to think we're not idiots because we use a bunch of shit that smart people have figured out. But how many of us understand any of that shit? Think about the technological level that this world operates on. How many of us really understand that? What if everybody out there died and we had to take over the world? How well do you think we'd do? Yeah, terrific. We would do awesome. Yeah. Does anybody know how any of this shit works? Why is that loud? Any idea? I've been a comedian for 16 fucking years. I have no idea what's in there. I don't know, some loud shit? I don't know. What makes that bright? Bright shit? I don't know. Think about all the stuff you need to run your life. Computers and Palm Pilots and cell phones. How many of you know how to make any of that shit? I mean, if I left you alone in the woods with a hatchet, how long before you could send me an email? We are not smart. We buy shit from smart people. I don't have a camera on my phone because I'm smart. If you left me on an island for a fucking million years, I could never figure out how to put a camera in a phone. I don't even know what a camera is. I know I press a button and a picture shows up. What happens between me pressing that button and the picture showing up is anybody's fucking guess. There might be leprechauns and spray paints, fucking gremlins up the ass. All I know is megapixel. You gotta say that to get the good shit. I don't even know what a megapixel is. It's like a noise you make with your mouth. Megapixel. Oh, you're clever. You are clever. Who knows people who know that shit? Does anybody know anybody who's invented anything? Who are they? Is anybody watching them? Making sure they're alive? Making sure that somebody makes kids with them? No one's paying attention. I think what's gonna happen one day is the smart people are just gonna die and they're gonna leave us with a bunch of shit we don't understand. I think it's gonna be no warning. We're just gonna be sitting around having a good time, having a couple of drinks. Power's just gonna shut off. Everybody's gonna get out the lighter. Way to go, you fucking idiots. Can't even keep the power on. What the fuck? And what do you do when the power goes out? I don't know what you do, but what I do is usually I sit around and I wait. Because I figure this is the guy who fixes that shit. He's probably working on it right now.